Here we go, another mini movie news. And this mini movie news, I'm only talking about a couple things, but one of those things is really, really big. So I'll talk about that. First thing I want to talk about, though, is The Right Stuff being canceled. So, if you don't know, last year, before Mandalorian Season 2 came out, actually around the same time Mandalorian Season 2 came out, we Disney Plus dropped a show called The Right Stuff, and this show was a collaboration with National Geographic and Warner Brothers. And it was kind of the first original drama series on Disney Plus. It dropped 10 episodes week to week and had a little documentary about the real event that the show's about. And I reviewed all of that show. I really, really enjoyed it. But unfortunately, it seems like that show didn't catch on. And so Disney reportedly tried to shop the show around and have a new cast because there's several different space missions and so they need a different cast for each space mission. So they were trying to shop the show around, and they were trying to do that, and they went to HBO Max and other things like that, and I guess none of them would really pick it up, and so they canned it because they didn't want it for Disney Plus because it didn't work out. Now, here's my thing. I don't believe this. Why don't I believe this? I believe this show is not that expensive to make. It looks nice. It's just most of the show is people talking in rooms. It is not a very expensive show to make from what it looks like. The other part of the show is, since you don't have a cast that you're signing on for multiple seasons of this show, that means you don't have to up the pay of the cast and the crew and all that stuff like you would do with the normal TV show. So I don't believe that HBO Max passed on this show. I'm thinking they didn't even try Netflix. I think they were trying people. And Disney has been known to lie about stuff like this. I don't believe a lot of the reports that Disney puts out nowadays because I just think a lot of them just seem very, very inaccurate. But either way, the reality is the show's over. It ended. And that's unfortunate. Because in an age of nothing but sequels, remakes, prequels, whatever on coming out, especially from Disney, this show came out and failed because it wasn't a sequel, remake, or whatever. And that's just disappointing. That's just really sad. This is the first Disney Plus show that's not like a documentary series that has been canceled and is not getting a second season. We are getting a second season to High School Musical, the series. Now, I finished watching that show. I think it was a fine show, but I think it's ridiculous to see this happen. One of my biggest complaints with people nowadays is there's a constant demand from people that these companies make less sequels and remakes. But then when you go look up the highest grossing movies in a year or of all time, in general, it's all sequels and remakes. That's all people watch. So all those people who complain there's too many sequels and remakes, well, that's their fault. They support nothing but sequels and remakes. This is why this happens. And when shows like this come out that are original and not attached to a previous franchise and you're not watching it, it's a problem. When original films come out on Netflix and stuff like that and you're not supporting it. I'm not saying you have to support every little original thing that comes out. That's impossible. But I am saying you should try to take interest in other things that aren't big franchises. Look at what's out there and be like, maybe I should check that out. And decide what interests you. That's what you need to do. And you can't, people need to stop this complaining about too many sequels and remakes. Well, guess what? There's too many sequels and remakes because of you. So, now let's talk about a sequel. And it got a remake. The Space Jam 2 trailer came out. So I have some things to note about it. We really get a sense of the plot, which is LeBron gets sucked into this world, the Toon World, and it goes on a mission to save his son, and he has to assemble a new team of basketball players. And the first thing we're seeing right here is that LeBron is a better actor than Michael Jordan, and that was to be expected. He's a, when you're watching it here, he does give a better performance here. I really enjoy him here. I think he can give her a role with a lot of charisma. His son's a better actor than his son in the original Space Jam, so that's another thing. But we're also seeing a little bit more crossover. There's a shot in the trailer where LeBron says, "I'm gonna assemble a team," and he's writing down a list of people. And one of those people on that list is the Iron Giant. So you're gonna see Warner Brothers characters that Warner Brothers owns show up in this movie. And you already see some of them. There's a shot where you can see the Flintstones, where you can see King Kong, where you can see Yogi Bear, where you can see the Iron Giant, all that stuff. And this looks fantastic. And some people are mad. Well, why is this movie CGI? Well, a lot of the movie is CGI, but you can see there's some traditional animation going on there. There's some different stuff going on there, and I really, really like that. I really like the approach that they're doing here. I really am excited for this movie. So I think I'm going to, I think I'm definitely going to have to be checking this out either on HBO Max or in theaters. If my theaters are still open, I will definitely be checking this film out in theaters. But if they're not, I'll be watching it on HBO Max. I'm very excited about this movie. I was excited the moment they announced it. I mean, because, Space Jam isn't a good movie, but it's like a fun movie. It's a guilty pleasure fun movie that's really fun to watch. And, it's not everyone's jam, though. It's not everyone's Space Jam. I'm sorry.